The man ran, his breath ragged, his heart pounding like a war drum in his chest. The ground beneath him shifted from sand to stone to soil, yet he did not stop. He sprinted through fields of gold, into towering cities of steel, across bridges that stretched over endless waters. No matter where he went, no matter how fast his legs carried him, the presence behind him never wavered. It did not hurry. It did not hesitate. It only advanced, steady as the tide, inevitable as time. The pale rider did not chase. He simply followed. The man had spent his entire life running. From what? He had never fully admitted to himself. He called it ambition. He called it responsibility. But deep down, he knew the truth. He was fleeing the one thing no man could escape. He had always known the rider was there, lingering just beyond the edge of his vision, a silent reminder of the thing he feared most. He had ignored the whispers, drowned out the stillness, filled his life with distractions so that he would never have to turn and face it. But fear does not disappear when ignored. It only grows heavier. Ahead, the landscape changed. A great city rose from the earth, towering spires of gold and glass stretching into the sky. A place of power, of wealth, of endless distractions. He ran toward it, desperate to lose himself in the glow of its promises. Here, surely, he could make himself untouchable. He could build something so great, so lasting, that even the pale rider would have to stop and acknowledge it. Gold slipped through his fingers like sand. The riches he had stored up, the wealth he had amassed, the treasures he had spent his years collecting, they meant nothing now. He tried to buy more time, but time does not bargain. He sought power, but power crumbled beneath his grasp. He looked around and realized that nothing he had built could shield him. No kingdom, no fortress, no army could stand between him and the thing that came for all men. Still, he ran into a grand hall where feasts stretched as far as the eye could see, where pleasure and indulgence drowned out the silence. He filled his plate with the finest foods, drank deep from goblets of wine, surrounded himself with laughter and song. But the taste turned to dust in his mouth. The laughter rang hollow. The more he consumed, the emptier he became. He glanced over his shoulder, hoping, praying, but the rider was still there, unchanged, unhurried, untouched by all the noise. He ran again, through streets teeming with people, through crowds who knew nothing of his terror. He screamed for them to see, to acknowledge what followed, but they only shook their heads. "You are obsessed with shadows," they told him. "Why think about the inevitable? There is so much here to enjoy." They laughed and danced, but he could see it in their eyes, the same fear, the same denial. They too were running. They too refused to turn around. The lights of the city faded behind him. He fell to his knees in the dirt, gasping, trembling. And still, the pale rider came. The man clenched his fists, his body trembling. "Not yet," he whispered. "Not now." He looked up, his face contorted in rage. "Give me more time. I have plans, things unfinished. I have built so much, done so much. I just need more time." The pale rider said nothing. "Let me bargain," the man pleaded. "I will do more. I will be better. I will be better." The rider did not move. A terrible realization dawned upon him. It had never been a chase. It had never been a fight. The rider had never hunted him. He had only walked. It was the man who had been running. It was the man who had turned life into a battle against the inevitable. Slowly, painfully, the man exhaled. He closed his eyes, hands still clenched in the dirt. And then, for the first time, he did not run. He turned around. The pale rider was there, but he was not monstrous. His presence was neither cruel nor vengeful. The man gazed at him, chest rising and falling in deep, measured breaths. "What if," the man whispered, "you were never the enemy?" His voice wavered, but there was no fear in it now, only wonder. The rider did not answer, but he did something the man did not expect. He slowed. He did not stop. He never stopped, but he passed by without reaching for him. And then he was gone. The man sat in the silence that followed. He looked at his hands, at the dirt beneath them, at the sky above him. He was still here. The world had not ended. Life had not stopped. All those years of fear, all that running, all the wasted time. He rose to his feet and looked around. The world stretched out before him, open and wide and waiting. The pale rider would come again. Of that, he had no doubt. But he would not fear him. He would not run. He would live. For the first time, he understood. The true tragedy was not that life ended, but that so many wasted it in fear. The race was never about escaping death. It was about embracing life. He took a breath, deep and full, and then, without looking back, he walked forward.